So, welcome everyone. Let's take a moment of silence to bring the mind back to the body. If anyone would like to read the opening aspiration, please go ahead.
With boundless compassion and wisdom, I will work for the welfare of all. May we be free from hunger and discord and have joy and a world at peace.
Thank you. So, today we start with verse number 12, and these later verses, starting from I think 11, verse number 11, and then 12, and then further on. These, according to the books, are for uh, like they say that there are different kinds of levels, and these are like a bit difficult ones, as we see. That earlier one also that we were talking about, the one where I take the suffering of all of the others and exhale peace and light for them. So that is not, we can just do it on the very first day when we begin to understand that, oh, this is what they are talking about, and let me take in all their suffering. So we can't do that. So that's why they have shared in the books that there are different stages, different levels. Some are easier to cultivate, and some are more difficult and challenging. So these ones, starting from 11, where 11 was the part of Tonglen, they are for the difficult, uh, like more challenging, for people who want to take up the more challenging ones now, if they feel they are ready for that. So this number 12 also is also quite challenging. And as the verse says, that if someone driven by great desire seizes all my wealth or induces others to do so, to dedicate to him or her my body, my possessions, and past, present, and future merit, is the practice of a bodhisattva. तो कभी कभी हमको समझ नहीं आएगा कि हाउ इज दिस पॉसिबल, इफ वी हैव नॉट डन द अर्लियर वंस, वी वुड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड कि ये पॉसिबल कैसे है कि एक तो मेरी पिटाई कर रहा है और मेरे से वो छीन रहा है जो मेरा है, और आप कह रहे हो कि मैं वो भी दे दूं जो सारा बचा खुचा है, सो हाउ इज दिस पॉसिबल. So that is why there is hardly any explanation to be made here. And those of us who may not resonate, it's no problem. No, it's not that we have to all resonate with this, but we can just go through the verse and see what they are talking about. So this is what we take today. Yeah. So if anyone would like, maybe you can read the first two paragraphs and the verse.
Yes. Embracing adversity. If someone driven by great desire seizes all my wealth or induces others to do so, to dedicate to him or her my body, possessions, and past, present, and future merit is the practice of a bodhisattva. In verse 12, the text follows through with a discussion of adversity. When cruel things happen to us, especially when we don't think think we desire them, how should we respond in order to carry this adversity onto the path? Tibetan, Tibetan Buddhism emphasizes taking everything onto the path and not discarding anything, even those even those things we see as big obstacles and problems, which make us think, I would be a much better practitioner if only. Everything has to be used. It is like vegetable peelings. Instead of just discarding them as useless, we can mulch them and make them into compost that helps all the flowers and vegetables to grow even better. Likewise, rather than discarding the obstacles and problems in our lives, we can make use of them. One second. I think the cursor is hiding the word there. Right, okay. We can make use of them in our practice because the understanding is that if things always go too smoothly, we can be lulled into thinking that we are much more advanced practitioners than we actually are. If everyone is lovable, it is easy to be loving. Of course, we want people to be friendly and kind to us. But the problem is that if we are only meeting with kindness and friendliness, it can make us think that we have no problems inside. I'm always so kind and friendly. This can give us a false idea that we have overcome anger, that we have overcome jealousy, that we have overcome feeling hurt. But this might not be true. Often these afflictive emotions are lying latent inside us still, only to come surging right back up when we meet with adverse people or circumstances.
Thank you. Yeah, so if anyone has anything.
In the previous paragraph, it is comparing like the example about how we peel vegetables and those shavings are being thrown out and they can be used as compost. Yet, initially it came to me that okay, these are normally waste, things. But I think that is the more fundamental thing that needs to be caught on to because the next paragraph it says um, to take these adverse, to take all the problems or all the challenges. And I think that's, I think more than even eating the fruit, I think the peel, the shavings are more important somehow after reading this because um, they are they are really building my ground somehow. So one observation. Yes.
Yeah. If anybody else wants to add on.
In her book Cave in the Snow, Jetsunma, I don't know, there was something happening. I think she had a disease, I don't know, some health issue or something, and she was quite uncomfortable with it, and she was wondering what's happening. And suddenly the thought dawned on her that why am I expecting things to be comfortable, right? Why am I expecting things to just go very smoothly? And I think she had said something like, but this is samsara, right? This is part of how things happen. They don't go smoothly. They are not supposed to. That's not the nature of how things are meant to happen. So when I read the verse, like you were saying, it sounds a bit too much, right? Like right now. So I think even the fact that if I can take adversities or things which are going against my preferences in some equanimous way, if possible for me, or to realize that this is serving a greater purpose. I think for me, even that feels like a step up, because usually our grasping and grabbing for comfort, for preferences is so much that even when the basic is not met, we just go into dumps or start complaining and whatever. So matlab, when we just keep things in perspective, this is kind of how things are, and there's something positive, something negative, which we have seen again and again and again, and yet every time we react to things like pata nahi kya ho gaya hai. So that's just us, but this gives a stronger ground, I feel, to be just knowing that this is there, and I don't have to blame. Like in, I think yesterday's session or day before yesterday's session, when it was like all the issues are because of me, right? In mother's prayers, I think when we were reading that all my problems, my difficulties, I am the source. So that really puts things in context if I'm actually able to use it when I'm making a judgment, when there's a comment coming, when I can put this, but this is me because of it, this is happening, I did this and that led to this. That really gives a different perspective to things. And I guess I feel I get less astray in the unnecessary. And yeah, it feels I get more focus. Yeah.
Yeah, the anecdote that you were referring to was when there was lots of snow and the snow blocked the entrance of the cave and everything. It was very difficult to get out. And then when she was just really very struggling with it, then it occurred to her that this is samsara, what can I expect? Yeah. And that really relieved her. And actually, it empowered her also, because then you are not wanting, draining your power, that वहां पे कुछ होना चाहिए, वहां पे कुछ नहीं होगा, वो होपलेस ही है, अब बाकी जो तुम्हें करना है वो कर सकते हो. Yeah, so it empowers.
Well, if you're sharing this example, yeah. So it's like she's in a cave, not asking for much, sustaining on bare minimal happily. So I think the same thing happens to us, right? Like, say we were wanting 50 things, and maybe now we want three. So ऐसा लगता है इतने तो cruel मत हो, I'm just asking for three things. Don't deny me these. This thing I think adds on. Okay, I'm not asking for much, but I don't see I'm still asking. I'm still. So I think that's something that one she also, I guess, realized, and she said after that I never had anything issue, right? Like whatever was coming, I was facing it. I never sat after that to think that why is it not going smoothly and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I think also the problem is not our asking, I feel. The problem is that when I don't get, there is disappointment. नहीं, मतलब मांगना और मिलना और मांगना तो चलता रहेगा. दैट इज वेरी संसारिक, लाइक दैट इज वेरी वर्ल्डली, ऑल दीज इंटरेक्शंस. बट जब हमारी हैप्पीनेस उस पर डिपेंडेंट हो जाती है, कंटेंटमेंट उस पर डिपेंडेंट हो जाती है, कि मतलब है ना, दुखी हो जाते हैं हम उसकी वजह से कि अगर नहीं मिल रहा, या ऐसी चीज मिल गई जो अच्छी नहीं लगती है. तो these are what they call eight worldly concerns, कि उसके पीछे जाना जो लगता है कंटेंटमेंट देगा, और उससे भागना जो ऐसा लगता है कंटेंटमेंट छीन लेगा। तो ये जान लेना जो आप कह रहे थे कि ये फाइनली अपने आप को समझा देना कि कंटेंटमेंट वहां नहीं है, चाहे वो मिले या नहीं मिले, है ना। तो चाहे मेरी पसंद का मिल जाए, वो भी कंटेंटमेंट नहीं देगा, अगर देगा तो 2 क्षण के लिए, जब वो चेंज होगा फिर बीमारी। एंड चाहे वो मेरी पसंद का नहीं भी मिले, आई हैव दैट पावर दैट मेरी वो कंटेंटमेंट या मेरी जो इनर स्टेट है वो नहीं छीन सकता, वो खराब नहीं कर सकता, इफ आई हैव दैट एबिलिटी। So I think वही है कि because of this blindness that we have, which we call ignorance also at times, मतलब बार बार हम ये समझते हैं लेकिन बार बार भूल जाते हैं, और बार बार एक उम्मीद बाहर की चीज़ों से डेवलप हो जाती है कि मतलब पता भी नहीं है, कॉन्शियसली मुझे पता भी नहीं है कि मैं ये चाहने लग गया हूँ फिर से या चाहने लग गई हूँ, लेकिन ऐसा लगता है फिर एकदम से तब पता लगता है जब डिसअपॉइंटमेंट होती है। तो जब मेरे को डिसअपॉइंटमेंट होती है, जो चीज़ चाहिए थी वो नहीं मिलती, तब पता लगता है ओ फिर से उम्मीद डेवलप हो गई थी। क्योंकि जब चाह रहे होते हैं तब पता नहीं लगता है, बिकॉज ऑफ माई ब्लाइंडनेस ना, नहीं दिख रहा होता कि ये मैं कर क्या रही हूँ, नहीं दिखता। और चाहे कितनी बार हमने पढ़ा है, हीरोइक हार्ट जैसी बुक्स पढ़ी हुई हैं घर पे, है ना, और पढ़ते रहते हैं, ऐसा भी नहीं है कि चिंतन नहीं करते, मनन नहीं करते, लेकिन जब वो चीज़ हो रही होती है बिकॉज ऑफ सो मेनी लेयर्स ऑफ इग्नोरेंस, देर इज नॉट अ रिकग्निशन कि ये कर क्या रहे हो, नहीं पता लगता, अनलेस दैट थिंग डज नॉट हैपन एंड देन आई हैव डिसअपॉइंटमेंट कि ओ शायद मिल जाती, yeah, I think it takes a lot of, maybe that's why life experiences itself, they say that they make us ripen and mature, because bar bar repeatedly we have to have these experiences which tell us that बाहर कहीं नहीं मिलेगा, और जो है एक्चुअली में वो अंदर है, जरा देख लो एक बार, है ना। तो वो हम ऐसा भी नहीं है कि अंदर नहीं झांकते, अंदर की तरफ हम झांकते हैं, लेकिन थोड़ा सा अंदर झांक के ना फिर से बाहर, क्योंकि हैबिट है, तो हल्का सा झांका अंदर, बड़ा अच्छा लगा, बड़ा अच्छा लगा, फिर एकदम से बाहर, है ना, फिर से पुरानी आदतों में, पुराने ग्रूव्स में फिर से लोटने पोटने लग गए, फिर वहां पे झटका लगा, फिर अंदर आ गए, फिर थोड़ी देर, थोड़ी ज्यादा, इस बार थोड़ी ज्यादा देर, थोड़ा और समय स्टेबलाइज किया अपने आप को, कि हाँ अब अच्छा लग रहा है, अच्छा लग रहा है, फिर एकदम से बाहर चले गए बिकॉज ऑफ ओल्ड हैबिट्स, ग्रुप्स। तो ये मुझे लगता है दीज काइंड ऑफ pendulum like movements, they keep on happening for a very very long time, and of course each one has its own thing to give us. So yeah, so when cruel things happen to us, and when it is said cruel, we have to know that it may not be very cruel, even as there was sharing that अगर बहुत कम भी है वो भी क्रूअल लग सकता है, अगर वो बहुत इंटेंसिटी से हमको चाहिए और हमारी हैप्पीनेस या कंटेंटमेंट उस पर अब डिपेंडेंट हो गई है, तो इवन इफ इट इज़ अ वेरी लिटिल थिंग, इट कैन अपीयर वेरी क्रूअल। अगर बच्चे को लॉलीपॉप मम्मी नहीं लेने देती है, तो वो बच्चे को उस समय तो क्रूअल ही लगता है, उस समय बच्चा ये नहीं कहता कि मेरी मम्मी मेरे लिए अच्छा कर रही है। This happens to us, that when our lollipops are not given to us, then it feels a little cruel. Like, why is God so cruel? And Sri Aurobindo also uses the word heavenly cruelty, because it's like कोई तुम्हें एक सुंदर जगह की तरफ ले जाना चाह रहा है, बट क्योंकि हमारी पुरानी आदतें इतनी खराब हैं, टेस्ट इतने खराब पड़े हुए हैं कि वो खराब एक्चुअली हमें लगते नहीं है, वो लॉलीपॉप बहुत स्वादिष्ट लगती है, ये नहीं पता लगता कि वो हमारा कर क्या रही है, तो हमारी ये हालत होती है। तो इसलिए जब लॉलीपॉप छीनी जाती है तो क्रुएल्टी फील होती है। बट अगर हल्की सी भी हम में समझदारी डेवलप हो जाती है, थोड़ी बहुत, थ्रू लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस, तो जब लॉलीपॉप छीनी जा रही होती है, ऑल्दो दर्द होता है, बट पता होता है कि ये सही हो रहा है, because of whatever little wisdom is gradually kind of illuminating our being, उससे थोड़ा सा अंदाजा लग जाता है कि दर्द तो हो रही है मुझे, अच्छा तो नहीं लग रहा, बट मुझे पता है ये मेरे अच्छे के लिए, कहीं ना कहीं ये पता होता है अपने अंदर. So when cruel things happen to us, especially when we don't think that we deserve them, कि हमने तो हमेशा लोगों के साथ अच्छा ही किया, देखो अब मेरे सबसे करीबी दोस्त ने ही मेरा साथ नहीं दिया, लाइक दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, और मेरी बहन ने साथ नहीं दिया, मेरे पिताजी ने साथ नहीं दिया, ऑल दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. How should we respond in order to carry this adversity into the onto the path? Tibetan Buddhism emphasizes taking everything onto the path and not discarding anything, even those things we see as big obstacles and problems. So, all of us can see, look at our life at once, at this moment, and see whatever we can label as big obstacles and problems in our life right now. जो भी लग रहा है कि ये बहुत बड़ा रास्ते का पत्थर की तरह क्यों आया हुआ है मेरी लाइफ में, अगर कुछ ऐसा है तो उसको हम देख सकते हैं. इवन दोज थिंग्स we see as big obstacles and problems which make us think I would be a much better practitioner if only this thing was not happening to me. Like if I had not this kind of a sibling, or if I had a better parents, uh, kind of, if I had a better family, if I had more money, है ना. तो अगर वो if only हम लगा रहे हैं तो हम उस चीज को इस पाथ पे ले सकते हैं. So everything has to be used, just like we were referring to the uh, process of making a compost. So compost cannot be made without vegetable peelings, and without good compost, we don't have good fruits. So everything is dependent on, like it's like a circle. Each thing, again, fruit has its own importance, and peels have their own importance, and the soil has its own importance. Each has its proper place. So good things, when they happen to our life, they also have their own importance, but when things happen which are not very likable, they also have their proper place. So everything has to be used. Likewise, rather than discarding the obstacles and problems in our lives, so how do we discard? Usually we escape, we try to not take the lessons that are coming through them, we try to distract ourselves. तो अगर बहुत ज़्यादा दर्द फील हो रहा है, या कुछ ऐसा है जो हम जिसके बारे में चिंतन कर सकते हैं बट नहीं करना चाह रहे, और उसकी जगह हम अपने आप को या तो यूट्यूब और नेटफ्लिक्स में लगा देते हैं, या घूमना फिरना, एक्सेसिव फ्रेंड्स के साथ सोशलाइज करना, कुछ ड्रग अब्यूज और अल्कोहल समथिंग, just like I don't want to face it. So rather than discarding or not facing the obstacles and problems in our lives, we can make use of them in our practice, because the understanding is that if things always goes too smoothly, we can be lulled into thinking that we are much more advanced practitioners than we actually are. So this happens with all of us, that from time to time अगर दो चार हमने बुक्स पढ़ ली होती हैं, या दो चार है ना टॉक्स दे दी, या वर्कशॉप्स अटेंड कर ली, तो ऐसा लगने लग जाता है कि हमें पता है, मुझे तो पता लग गया अब. और ये सबके साथ होता है, मतलब इट इज़ नथिंग विच इज़ नॉट नॉर्मल, and we become conscious of it, that this is happening only when we have problems and challenges in our life. वो एकदम से मुंह पे थप्पड़ मारते हैं कि अच्छा ऐसा लगने लग गया था, तेरा हो गया, अभी नहीं हुआ, so which is very good, it is very good, because उसी से हम प्रोग्रेस करते हैं. So a heroic heart, or a surma, or a warrior is a person who takes the blow on its face. Now an ego cannot take the blow on its face just like that, because ego feels humiliated. यार अभी तो मैं एक सेशन करके आई हूँ, अभी तो मैं एक टॉक दे के आई हूँ, और अब देखो मुझे किस चीज़ से निकलना पड़ रहा है. अभी तो मैं बड़ी ऊंची ऊंची बातें करी कि देखो मैंने तो अपनी प्रैक्टिस शुरू कर दी है, एंड आई एम फीलिंग वेरी मच बेनिफिटेड. होता है, हम सबके साथ होता है कि हम ऐसा कुछ बोल देते हैं, और उसी के बाद एकदम से कोई चैलेंज आ जाता है ना, एकदम से कोई ऐसी प्रॉब्लम आ जाती है, either we face our anger or frustration, or some kind of relatives around us are not very nice. So these kind of things are very grounding experiences, because they don't let us go high in the air, and they insult the ego, they humiliate the ego, which is very good because we are not the egos. So when the ego lies shattered, we are not shattered, we are the spirit. So spirit rises when the ego is shattered. So that really is very helpful if one can take the blow on one's face and go through all the humiliation and insult. It is very cheap bargain in front of what the progress lies in front of us. Yeah. So when we are meeting with only very kind people, है ना, सारे के सारे संघा members, everyone is resonating with each other, then it can make us think that we have no problems inside. I am always so kind and friendly. See, everyone smiles at me, and I have found, such good soul. People use the word soul family मिल गई मेरे को. Soul family कभी कभी हम उसको भी कह देते हैं कि जिनसे हमारी ज़्यादा लड़ाई झगड़ा नहीं होता है या ज़्यादा, है ना, डिसोनेंस नहीं होता है, रेजोनेंस ज़्यादा है. बट इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि हम उन इंटरेक्शंस को बिल्कुल डिस्कार्ड कर दें जहाँ पे हमको एक्चुअली में डिसोनेंस ज़्यादा है. बिकॉज जहाँ पे डिसोनेंस है वहीं पे हमारे लिए लर्निंग एक्सपीरियंस और भी ज़्यादा है. So this can give us a false idea that we have overcome anger, that we have overcome jealousy, and that we have overcome feeling hurt. But this might not be true. Often these afflictive emotions are lying latent inside us still, only to come surging right back up when we meet with adverse people or circumstances. So it's very good, it's very, very good to have different kind of experiences throughout the day and to go through these people and situations which make us boil or which make us feel frustrated, because then only I know that the seed of being boiled is still present in me. It is not gone. Or the seed of frustration and annoyance and feeling humiliated and all the kinds of seeds, they are still present in me. Only when the weather is right, the season is right. कबीर जी कहते हैं ऋतु आए फल होए. जैसे कि सीजन आता है तो वो स्प्राउट करता है. अगर अभी सीजन नहीं है, सो नेगेटिव पीपल और सिचुएशंस विच आर नॉट फेवरेबल, दे कैन बी कंसिडर्ड एज द सीजन्स. तो अभी वो, क्योंकि इतना नेगेटिव बंदा सामने मेरे आया नहीं है, तो मुझे लग रहा है कि वाह वाह, एंगर का भी मैं तो बिल्कुल एंगर शांत, बिल्कुल मजा ही आ गया. कि मैं तो इस वाले को सुनता हूँ, उस वाले को सुनता हूँ, मेरा तो एंगर बिल्कुल काबू में, नो प्रॉब्लम. और डिजायर डिजायर तो इतने दिनों से मुझे दिखी नहीं. So it's very good to go through all these different kind of circumstances, because they are the ones which make our these negative kind of seeds sprout, and then we get to know कि अभी काम अपने ऊपर बचा हुआ है, अभी काम पूरा नहीं हुआ. So yeah, that's how we can kind of take the blows nicely on our face, because all of that is for our progress, and the whole universe is conspiring for our progress. It is not against us, it is for us. It wants us to be who we truly are and not get settled at a kind of an intermediate, mediocre stage. Anything here? Yeah.
I don't know if it's fully relatable, but I just this thing just got into my head that Savitri, when she faces the Lord, the God of Death, she's not scared, right? She sees light beyond it. Like I don't know if she saw light beyond it, but she's not scared of it, that adversity. She's ready to, face it, go through it, follow it, wherever it is going. And then I see myself right before the dawn when the light shines. I'm so that is very new to me. I've never seen that, let's say. So what I'm doing is, as soon as the dawn starts to come up, I'm running in the opposite direction, going into the darknesses, because that's what I was living with for so long. So when you say all these, then I see that even though if I'm not fully ready to face these adversities, at least if I can just stand, like I stand by the lake for the dawn to come up. I don't go to the dawn. I just stand there and not do much, just if I can say mass name or I can do anything, just stand there quietly, and maybe those adversities will also, I can go through them, because I don't know. I have been like, the moment I see a challenge, I I do not see that as an opportunity. So this really changes the perspective of how I can look at it. So at this point of time, maybe I'm not ready to, say, I'll go through you, but at least I can practice to stand, and just get the light come up. Yeah.
Actually, what you just shared is actually going through only. Because when you are standing requires a lot of courage. You may not use the word courage, but it is a lot of courage to just stand. And when you are standing, actually, you are going through it. You know, it's not that you have to march forward and go through something, right? But yeah, beautiful. Yes. Yeah, anything more? Anyone? Hmm. तो आगे देख लेते हैं आगे क्या होने वाला है. Maybe we can take three. Yeah, we can take three paragraphs.
Yeah, I think Ritu had unmuted last time to read. Ritu, do you want to read?
Yeah.
Hmm.
However, instead of feeling upset either at the person causing this negative reaction or at ourselves for feeling angry, we think, oh, good, this person is so obnoxious. What a wonderful opportunity. Now I can really practice. Thank you so much for showing me how much work I still have to do. You really are my teacher. I didn't notice how sensitive I was about that, and you have shown me. I'm really very grateful to you for that. So instead of regarding somebody who is annoying or hurtful as being the enemy, as being somebody antagonistic to us, and then getting all upset and angry, we might recognize that actually this has given us a great opportunity. It helps us to see ourselves much more clearly. What work needs to be done still, and at the same time, the opportunity to get to work on the remedy.
Yeah.
Just changing our attitude
Hmm.
can change everything. We can regard situations that once seemed so difficult as being a great spiritual opportunity for us to develop and learn. Again, it is like going to a gymnasium and being faced with a machine that is challenging and designed to test our muscles. We don't resent that machine. Rather, we are grateful to it for showing that we need to do a lot more work. We don't start kicking the machine and getting all upset. because it is difficult. We think, wow, this is giving me a really good workout, and we come out covered in sweat and feeling fantastic. This practice of Lohong is workout in the spiritual realm that really challenges us, but the resulting inner strength is truly profound.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So this is very, very helpful. Again, it's not that we have not touched upon these aspects earlier, but we keep on forgetting and still act the same way as we would do when we have not read these things for a very, very long time. So good to remind us that whenever we take the power, it's like taking actually the power in our hands. Because whenever I am blaming a certain situation, and logically it may seem absolutely correct that I am angry at that person, whatever logic I may be using, and I may feel that no, गलती किसी बाहर की ही है, either situation और किसी इंसान की. तो होता क्या है कि उसमें we lose a lot of energy. We all must have felt that we drain our energies in either blaming or criticizing a person, or kind of blaming or criticizing a particular situation, or feeling victimized that मेरे साथ ही ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए था, I did not deserve. All of these attitudes are very, very negative in nature. They don't serve us well, and they drain our energies. So it is high time that we become conscious that these patterns are not serving me well, and choose those patterns or those newer paths which are serving me well, which benefit me. So when I let go of my blame on persons and situations and take charge of my own self, that this is little me, whatever I have, my life, precious life. Now, what is the best I can make out of this life, irrespective of the outer situations and circumstances, which I know will not be all the time favorable. So when I focus on myself, and when I see that, okay, what will be beneficial for my growth and progress in a truer way, then I gain energy, then I don't lose energy. So we have to constantly, whenever we can, become conscious of it, choose those patterns and those uh, attitudes which are empowering and not disempowering in nature, because I am the one who is the master of my life, nobody else. So if I'm choosing a disempowering way to look at life, it is my problem that I'm looking at life in such a disempowering manner. And the moment I make the shift, it can change also. So, however, instead of feeling upset either at the person causing this negative reaction or at ourselves for feeling angry, we think, oh, good, this person is so obnoxious. What a wonderful opportunity. So, like, कि आप तैयार हो रहे हैं, अगले चैलेंज के लिए हाथ मल के कि अब मुझे यहाँ पे क्या मिलने वाला है प्रोग्रेस के लिए. So now I can really practice. You really are my teacher. I did not notice how sensitive I was about that, and you have shown me. So, all the people who are triggering so many points in us, most of them living very close to us, uh, they are our teachers. And they will not go away, and they will not change their way of behavior, also. We can be sure, unless we make the change within. It will keep on repeating itself, repeating itself, repeating itself. So we have to come back to a truer attitude, true inner attitude towards that situation or person, and then actually circumstances change. But if thinking that, oh, let me change because I have to change the circumstance, so let me show that I am having a different attitude, that would not work, because who am I fooling? So I am really very grateful for you, to you for that. So taking it in that sense, working on ourselves. And again, as I was sharing, that this verse is one of those verses which are of a kind of a higher level of challenge. जैसे जिम में अगर हम 5 किलो वेट उठा पाते हैं तो फिर हम कोशिश करते हैं अच्छा 8 उठा के देखते हैं, अच्छा 10 उठा के देखते हैं, अच्छा 12 उठा के देखते हैं, नो, सो वी गिव अवर सेल्फ more challenge. So these verses are a bit more challenging, and we have to see how much we are ready for it. So taking it on ourselves truly and working on ourselves. यहाँ पे काफी बार ये भी काफी लोगों को लगने लग जाता है कि हमेशा मैं ही क्यों अपने ऊपर काम करूं, दूसरा क्यों नहीं कर रहा। काफी बार वो भी रिलेशनशिप्स में और या वर्क प्लेस पे फील होता है। तो उसमें ये है कि भैया मत करो, सिंपल सी बात है, मत करो, छोड़ दो। उसमें भी तड़प ही है जब हम अपने ऊपर काम नहीं कर रहे होते, ये बोल के कि दूसरा तो कर नहीं रहा, मैं ही सब अपने आप को चेंज करती रहूं, दूसरा तो करता नहीं है, तो मत करो। एंड देन वी आर डम्प्ड बिकॉज वी समवेयर रियलाइज दैट दैट्स नॉट एक्चुअली द वे, राइट वे फॉरवर्ड। तो उसमें भी हमको ही तकलीफ है, अगर हम अपने ऊपर काम नहीं करेंगे उसमें भी तो तकलीफ ही है। उल्टा जब काम करते हैं अपने ऊपर तो एक्चुअली में प्रोग्रेस होती है, और एंड एज मदर सेज प्रोग्रेस ब्रिंग्स अस जॉय, देन वी हैव ट्रू जॉय। तो ये बिल्कुल हमारी चॉइस है, कोई हमें फोर्स नहीं कर सकता। नहीं करने का मन कर रहा काम करने का, तुम्हें लग रहा है कि नहीं दूसरा बंदा पहले चेंज हो जाए, तो भैया मत करो, चुप हो जाओ, होने दो, उसका वेट करो चेंज होने की, फ्रस्ट्रेटेड रहो, एनॉयड रहो, जो करना है करो। जिंदगी हमारी है, जिंदगी के मास्टर्स हम हैं, कोई नहीं रूल कर रहा हमें। ऑल ऑफ अस आर, आई थिंक दिस मच बिग दैट our parents are not ruling us, we, our minds are actually ruling us। तो जो करना चाहते हैं हम कर सकते हैं, it's not cannot be forced। So instead of regarding somebody who is annoying or hurtful as being the enemy, as being somebody antagonistic to us, and then getting all upset and angry, we might recognize that actually this has given us a great opportunity. It helps us to see ourselves much more clearly. What work needs to be done still, and at the same time, the opportunity to get to work on the remedy। तो ये हमें दिखता है कि ये, और इसके लिए बहुत करेज चाहिए। ऊपर ऊपर से नहीं पता लगता कि कितनी करेज चाहिए, बट इट रिक्वायर्स अ लॉट ऑफ करेज बिकॉज वी आर रूल्ड बाय द ईगोज। आई थिंक आई एम द ईगो, but when I am insulted, when the ego is insulted or humiliated, to take it on ourselves and to undergo all the progress and change towards something positive requires a lot of courage, especially because we think we are the egos। जब ईगो की बहुत धुनाई और पिटाई हो रही होती है, इतना आसान नहीं होता है अपने आप को डिफेंड ना करना। बट डिफेंड ना करते हुए भी, as Jagan was sharing earlier, keeping on standing and going through whatever progress it is bringing us, it actually is a very demanding task। उससे easier है blame करना, उससे easier है दूसरों को victim, मतलब दूसरों को कहना कि कि वहां पे गलती थी, मेरे में गलती नहीं थी। वो ज्यादा easy लगता है, क्योंकि उसमें again I have the feeling of being the right one, ego boost।
That's a very important thing that you shared, ma'am. That कि कोई और कर रहा है कि नहीं, like all my concern is if the other is practicing and getting frustrated about it. um More often, like not more often, often I just sit and I sometimes, you know um I have this reconciling habit at some point in the day when I'm by myself. And I sometimes think that, the things you talk, the things you say, do you really mean them? Or are you just trying to, impress others that, oh, how much wisdom he has? Because, there are situations, especially since I'm in India and with my father and mother, and, you know, growing up, there was some like, my father and I are very close, but again, we had some, friction. We had some issues and at certain things, and I see uh, the same things being repeated, and then I think that why am I so worried about him? You know, why am I so worried about him? Because I know I have to make my own progress, and that is when I just sit and I ask myself, that, are you really being true, or are you just acting? And oh, this is what I have to do. I'm just saying it out, but am I really practicing it? So, like, again, being naked in thoughts in front of the mother again. uh, I'm just telling her that, I don't know, but if that is really true that I'm acting, then change it, please, because it's not taking me anywhere. Like, worrying about him, what will happen to me, like my progress, my time. So yeah, thank you for sharing that.
आई थिंक ये जो वरीइंग वाला एस्पेक्ट है, सिंस आई थिंक आई कैन रिलेट विद इट अ लिटिल। मैंने देखा है कि हम तब वरी करते हैं, पीपल हु आर कॉल्ड अवर लव्ड वंस, उनके लिए आई थिंक तब वरी करते हैं जहाँ कहीं ना कहीं हमें ऐसा लगता है कि मुझे पता है इस बंदे के लिए क्या सही है और ये बंदा उस रास्ते पे नहीं है, तो देन आई वरी कि इसको यहाँ होना चाहिए था और वो वहाँ नहीं है, या इसको ये पढ़ाई करनी चाहिए, या ये स्पिरिचुअलिटी फॉलो करनी चाहिए, या ये एटीट्यूड होना चाहिए इसका, लेकिन ये क्योंकि वो नहीं कर रहा, देन वी बिकम कंसर्न्ड एंड वरीड। आई हैव सीन दिस particularly, in one domain, and I feel that it is a lot of doership on my part and righteousness on my part, that अपना तो हमें होश नहीं है और हमें दूसरों के बारे में पता है कि दूसरे के लिए कौन सा पाथ सही है, दूसरों, है ना, या कौन सा नहीं सही है। तो आई थिंक व्हेन वी बिकम कॉन्शियस ऑफ दिस वरी और कंसर्न, एज यू सेड दैट एक्चुअली वी कांट डू एनीथिंग, है ना, वॉट एवर द अदर पर्सन हैज टू गो थ्रू हैज टू गो थ्रू। तो वरी का प्लेस कहाँ पे है, वरी की जगह कहाँ पे है? तो मदर कहती है कि वी शुड नॉट वरी फॉर टू रीजंस। She says that if there is a thing that we can do something about it, then we should actually act, and then there is no space for worry. और अगर या सो वी शुड एक्ट एंड देन देर इज नो स्पेस फॉर वरी, और अगर वरी करने से एक्चुअली में कुछ होने ही नहीं वाला, इट्स अ होपलेस सिचुएशन, देन शी सेज व्हाट इज द यूज ऑफ वरी। तो वही है कि वरी की दोनों ही जगह कोई प्लेस नहीं है। So as you were sharing that, offering it to the mother whenever that comes as a old habit, giving it to the mother, showing it to the mother that mother, this is coming again, and you take care, I don't know, I am not concerned anymore. लेकिन हमारे साथ बहुत टाइम तक ये होता है कि हम मदर को दे के फिर वापस ले लेते हैं, है ना। तो अभी तो दे दी, अभी तो मेरे को राहत मिल गई कि बोझ उतर गया, बट अगला कुछ एक ऐसा इंस्टेंस होगा कि मैं फिर से उसको उठा लूंगी, भूल जाऊंगी कि मैं तो दे चुकी थी। तो ये अक्सर होता है, एंड आई थिंक अगेन इट्स अ लॉन्ग प्रोसेस दैट वी रियलाइज दैट वी आर नॉट द डूअर्स एंड वी don't know what is the best for each person. And the idea is that, of course, if one has a closed one or loved one can suggest, but imposition of any kind is not advisable, because we don't know what is the unfolding of that person's life. क्या पता उस बंदे की अनफोल्डिंग में उस चीज की जगह है जो अभी हमको लग रहा है कि नहीं, ये नहीं होनी चाहिए, है ना। तो एज Sri Aurobindo shares, there is a meaning in each curve and each line. तो हमें क्या पता, हमारा तो देखने का तरीका बहुत छोटा है। तो उससे फिर क्या होता है, मैंने देखा है कि उससे lots of doership kind of we can unburden ourselves and offer ourselves in whatever capacity to the person or situation that we are available, but not imposing or not saying that we know the best. So that takes off the load of our chest also of worry, and we kind of hand over the responsibility to the divine, which actually belong to the divine. हम परमात्मा बनने की कोशिश करने लग जाते हैं कभी कभी। So you can just take the last wala. Yes, Ritu.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, you're not. Are you speaking? I don't know. You can't
नहीं,
hear.
it got unmuted by mistake.
अच्छा, okay. ठीक है. Yes, Nandini.
Yeah. So, Monica, what I wanted to ask was, so in the case of also where you are no longer engaging with the person, right? Suppose you're not engaging with that person, and because of whatever reason, I mean, there could not be, there's not harmony, or there's no, not that you know the best for them, obviously you don't know. But what happens is, obviously, in interactions, the other person does expect you to say something, right? I mean, they have their expectations. You may not want to, say anything. What do you call it? Uh, Anything for their whatever, whatever you can suggest, like you said. But sometimes when the expectations from the other person are not reciprocated in the same way, then it causes a lot of disharmony. So is there something in that, like, you don't engage as much, you don't constantly engaging, but does mother have something to stay? I mean, I know it's the same thing, but it's just that sometimes, you are left, like I have been left wondering, oh, okay, now this was the expectation. They wanted to hear this, but I've not said this. And I didn't want to, because, like, yeah, in my consciousness, I am trying to hold back and, not get into the, which might probably lead to a confrontation, or might not, go down well with somebody. So, uh, what steps could one take over there?
यहाँ पे दो चीजें मेरे को फील हो रही हैं. करेक्ट मी इफ आई एम रॉन्ग इन अंडरस्टैंडिंग. सो if I am holding back, it means that there is something in my mind which is like an opinion about that person, or that this is what you should be doing actually, but you are not doing. But see, I am not saying. So when I'm holding back, it's like I'm holding tightly, rigidly to my inner opinion about that person's life, right? But that is not what we are talking about here. We are saying that I am not sure about that opinion because each person's life is unfolding in a very, very different manner. And how
Right.
can I be sure that what I'm thinking is actually correct? So I'm doubting my own opinion about that person's life, right? In that case, it's not that, oh, I'm holding back. और एज इफ कि अगर बात हुई कभी तो मेरा डैम खुल जाएगा और आई जस्ट ब्लर्ट इट आउट एंड दैट विल कॉज मे बी नॉट वेरी गुड हार्मनी अमंग्स पीपल. व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हियर इज, क्योंकि यहाँ पे तो क्या है, यहाँ पे हिडन फॉर्म में कहीं ना कहीं अभी भी मुझे लग रहा है कि मैं ही ठीक हूँ. वो तो मैं बोलना बंद कर दिया मैंने, मैं ही हूँ, हो ये गलत ही रहा है जो मेरे सामने हो रहा है. बट ये है कि देखो अब मैं I'm trying to step back, you see. So I'm kind of holding back, tapasya of speech. But actually, this is again, I have to check it because this is again one layer of hypocrisy. कि मैं दिखा रही हूँ कि मैं बोल नहीं रही, but actually मैं opinions मेरे बिल्कुल वही के वही हैं जो पहले थे. पहले मैं बात कर लेती थी तो बहुत ज़्यादा engagement होती थी, अब मैं बोलती नहीं हूँ, है ना. तो कम engagement होता है और कम disharmony होती है. So we have to check at that level that the opinions that I am holding on to about that person's life or images about that person's life, that are not at all required. Those are not at all required because I have to know that I see this. मुझे यहाँ का कुछ नहीं पता. ये हमारा माइंड है. हमको इतना, जो घोड़े को नाल कहते हैं, क्या कहते हैं, घोड़े के जो लेफ्ट राइट पे लगा देते हैं ना, उसको ना इधर का दिखता है ना इधर का दिखता है, सिर्फ ये दिखता है, तो वो सिर्फ वहीं जाता है. हमको ऐसा ही दिखता है. ये हमको अभी इसकी श्योरिटी होनी चाहिए, चाहे हम कितनी भी स्पिरिचुअलिटी पढ़ लें, है ना, कितनी भी बुक्स हम अच्छी अच्छी पढ़ लें, फिर भी हमको पता होना चाहिए कि जो हमारा कैरेक्टर है लॉजिकल माइंड का, एनालिटिकल माइंड का, उसको इतना ही दिखता है. वो चेंज नहीं हो रहा अभी, वो लंबे समय तक चेंज नहीं होने वाला. तो मैं कौन हूं ये बताने वाली कि इस बंदे की लाइफ कैसे चलनी चाहिए और इसको कैसा होना चाहिए, मैं कहाँ से बता दूं? क्या मेरी अपना मेरा पूरा जीवन सॉर्टेड है? क्या मुझे साइकिक और स्पिरिचुअल कॉन्शियसनेस सब पता लग गई अपनी? नहीं पता लगी, तो फिर मैं कैसे वहां पहुंच गई? So first I have to check that that thing was coming to me, and secondly, that you were sharing that if that other person may have expectations, and one is not, one is later realizing, oh, यहाँ पे तो बंदे की expectation थी. Again, that is a lot of, I think, unnecessary engagement, because I never see wherever mother has written. I have so far not read दैट मदर हैज सेड कि हमको एक दूसरे की एक्सपेक्टेशंस को फुलफिल करना चाहिए. मैंने कहीं नहीं पढ़ा अभी तक. कहीं लिखा हो तो हो सकता है, बट अभी तक मेरी नज़र में ये नहीं आया. एंड दीज काइंड ऑफ वाइटल एंगेजमेंट्स, इमोशनल एंगेजमेंट्स, इवन इफ द पर्सन इज योर स्पाउस और सिबलिंग और क्लोज टू यू, जो हम लोग हैं, जो अभी हम ये अटेंड करते हैं सेशंस, knowing that we are sincere about our inner work, all these engagements are very frivolous in nature, and they are just like, there comes a point in our life that they are not required, in that kind of engagements are not required to that extent.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं है कि आप इंटरेक्ट तो उन्हीं लोगों से कर रहे हो, वही सारा संसार है, बट unnecessary engagements and involvements and ungli in each other's life, they are just absolutely out of question. वो it's like a different taste that we have to develop.
Right.
ये
Yeah.
मैंने पढ़ा है, ये मैंने पढ़ा है ना.
Yeah.
This is called sadhana at the level of vital, because these are all vital engagements. है ना. तो इतना मैं, मतलब मैंने ये नहीं पढ़ा कि हमको अगर कोई बंदा एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है तो उसकी हाँ में हाँ मिलानी चाहिए या नहीं मिलानी चाहिए. इसके बारे में मैंने कहीं नहीं पढ़ा कि मदर हैज kind of insisted that, oh, you
Right.
agree to somebody because the person expects from you. In fact, to that extent that mother has said कि अगर relatives गांव में तुम्हें बुला भी रहे हैं, कोई बीमार पड़ा है, तो तुम्हें एक्चुअली में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, तुम यहाँ से प्रे करो, वो ज्यादा बेनिफिशियल है उसके लिए. तो to that extent mother has gone to some with some people, है ना. Yeah, now you have to look at it in your context, because it will be again context to context, but
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
coming to
Yeah, because see, then what happens also is that it's not about not wanting to say anything or not wanting to engage, but there are times that you really don't have anything to say, right? I mean, you don't want to, and it's not about anything. It's not just like, oh, I know better or whatever. What I'm trying to say is that especially over the maybe a couple of years or this thing, you really don't have anything to say, right? And it's not, I mean, okay, I know the best or whatever. Like in my daughter's case, I might, it's the same thing. I can suggest, but beyond that, I cannot run her life. I cannot say, oh, because obviously they come with that energy also, saying that, okay, I know, and I would like to do this. And as a parent, you can only, at least in my, what I think would be that I can guide them. If they, there are the different options given, and this is how, but I don't know what she is going to choose and what is going to happen. So so again, when your child says, right, oh, but you should have known, no ma. So, and then, so that's when I'm saying, when you think that, oh, did I have to know this? Like, you sometimes question that. And that happens also, whether it's in the case of, whether you're engaging with your own loved ones, as I said, people who are close to you. And they have, oh, like, you should have known this, or you should have, had this in mind. But there are times that I don't know as a person also, everything.
beautiful.
So
I think in
yeah,
that,
but
what you just now shared, it feels that, and at other occasions, mother shares that let the other people evolve. So when
yeah.
you don't have anything to say, and the other person may say that, अरे आपको तो पता होना चाहिए था. Now that is actually, that situation is also letting the other person evolve. कि हाँ,
Right.
ऐसे
Yeah.
बहुत सारी situations होती हैं जहाँ मम्मी को पापा को नहीं पता होता. वहां पे I have to see So that makes the other person more maybe alert and aware for the next time when the similar situation may happen. So
Right.
all I think is a part of game. So whether you speak or not speak, or if you are not speaking, letting the other person evolve. So all these are all allowed, and all these are part of the game. Nothing is happening which should not have been happening.
Hmm.
है ना? As Sri Aurobindo Savitri में कहते हैं ना, the supreme diplomat makes use of every fall into a greater rise.
Hmm.
है ना? तो अगर सेम हमारे लिए भी वही है, और हमारे बच्चों के लिए भी सेम है कि हमारे बच्चे भी अगर गिर रहे हैं तो उनके लिए भी तो उठना ही है वापस। अगर गिरेंगे तो फिर उठेंगे, फिर उठेंगे, फिर गिरेंगे, फिर उठेंगे। वही हमारे साथ हो रहा है। Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so I suggest that this last paragraph we take it up next time again, page number 79. Yeah, anything so far? Any last comments? Anyone?
Yeah, you know, I find that pain is so important in life because um, when I'm saying this, I'm actually this point of time I'm very scared when I say this, but asking for more pain somehow ki, so much pain that I do not have time to attend to other things or what others are doing. Because somehow with the conventional life, with going out with friends, meeting people, talking to parents, gossiping, these still give some sort of enjoyment, right? Soon they will also they will also become painful discussions. Going out and just doing nothing becomes painful, and eventually, I don't know. I'm so scared when I say this, but I want to ask. I will ask for pain. I am asking for pain because so much pain that I do not have anything else to. मैं सांस नहीं ले पाऊंगा. तो, yeah.
Beautiful. Actually, Mother shares on this. So I'm just sharing what Mother shares. Although I can resonate with what you are sharing completely. So Mother कहती है कि देखो, we should not ask for pain or suffering. क्योंकि हम देखो मदर के प्यारे बच्चे हैं। मदर क्यों चाहेंगी कि है ना बच्चों की पिटाई हो बहुत ज्यादा, है ना, इधर से पढ़े उधर से पढ़े। But she shares that when the pain or suffering is there, then you make the best out of it, which you are doing, which all of us are trying our best to make the best use of it. But not to ask for pain, because that is not एक एक जगह आई थिंक एसेज ऑन द गीता या वेर एवर, नहीं, आई थिंक ईशा उपनिषद. So on the commentary on Isha Upanishad, Sri Aurobindo shares that it is Krishna that is evolving out of us. One has not to torture the evolving Krishna, but to nurture and foster. तो देखो पेन की हमें तब तक, ऑफ कोर्स यू आर राइट, जरूरत है जब तक हमें पता है कि हम कुत्ते की पूंछ है, हमें बार बार चाहिए होता है, और जब आए तो आप उसका बेस्ट यूज करो. But parallelly, and as you are already doing, parallelly nurturing and fostering the Krishna, the divine Godhead, which is developing out of us, each one of us. That is what is required. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo both have not advised to ask for pain, because that's not the a lighter way, है ना, सिंपलर लाइटर वे नहीं है. बट व्हाट वी कैन डू इज कि जब वो होता है तब हम उससे पूरा का पूरा, एज यू आर शेयरिंग, कि वो मेरे को बहुत इंटेंसिटी देता है, वो मुझे बिल्कुल प्रोग्रेस के पाथ पे ले आता है, वो आप उसको बिल्कुल पूरा यूज करो. बट नो नीड, बिकॉज यू आर ऑल, वी आर ऑल children of the divine mother, and mother would not want each one of us to suffer. She would want us to follow the sunlit path, not a path of torture and suffering. You know? So we have to, and mother herself says that I don't like the Mahakali aspect that much. She says that I would prefer Mahalakshmi, which is full of abundance and prosperity and sweetness and smiley, all the time, and giving to my children. So that is what mother would want for each one of us. So I thought I would just put it forward that have a, जैसे चंपक लाल जी को मदर क्या कह रही है, बी सिंपल, बी हैप्पी, बी सिंसियर. अब हमसे भी वही मांगा जा रहा है, लेकिन हमको लगता है कि हम तब तक सिंपल नहीं हो पाते जब तक हमारी पिटाई नहीं होती है. तो अब ये है क्वेश्चन कि हमको कितनी पिटाई और चाहिए कि एक सिंपल लाइफ हम एक सेट कर पाए अपने अंदर, है ना. तो या इट पाथ इज इजी, बट yeah, don't do that. I would request you that don't do that. You don't deserve that. So yeah, when it is there, then please make use of it. Of course, make the best out of it, but mother suggests not to ask for it. Yeah. So any last comments, anyone? Okay, so let's take a moment of silence and dedicating all the merit, collective or individual, sharing it with all the sentient beings, all of us who want to be well and happy. May we all, including ourselves, may we not suffer. May all the causes of suffering be taken away from us. And may we all have true happiness, true progress, and all the causes and conditions for true happiness and progress. Thank you.